What gets you up in the morning? What gets you motivated? On the weekend, what gets you cranked up to mow the grass for crying out loud? Yeah, I've only known one guy who gets all cranked up and motivated to mow the grass, couldn't wait for it, and that's my cousin Rex. Other than that, not so much. But what is your motivation? And what if you lose it? How do you get that back? Dr. John Braccio has looked into this for us and joins us now. It's a little "What's up, Doc?" this morning. How you, Doc? How you doing?
Hi, good to talk to you. And this is really a big deal for people, motivation. And it's that quality that drives us to satisfy needs that we have and to achieve goals we set to have the dreams come true. And the intrinsic or extrinsic person usually has some combination of both. An intrinsic motivation, that's something within us, Mike, that leads us to want to achieve something or reach a goal, such as learning a trade, graduating from high school, college, finding a lifelong partner to meet our intrinsic needs, to love and to be loved. Actually, meeting a sales goal or simply just finding things to make a person happy. Extrinsic motivation comes from outside of us. Usually has some connection to desiring something. Could include financial, like a bonus or higher pay, and or more authority, responsibility in a work. More education or training or receiving praise, and encouragement from someone that we desire it from. The list really of possibilities is huge. Really, the combination is what we need, is required to motivate us in life. When our motivation is lacking in either or both of these areas, it can lead to a lack of satisfaction in life and health conditions such as headaches, anxiety, depression. It's also true that mental health conditions such as anxiety and depression or physical ailments can lead to a person not having the energy or ability or positive approach to life that's needed in order to be motivated to really complete desired activity. The following are things someone can do to try to get their motivation back. You have to take an honest look at yourself, Mike, and determine why you lost your motivation. Determine what you desire to achieve and what is possible. Seek inspiration from others who have lacked motivation, but come back to be motivated and successful. Determine if anxiety and depression are the cause of your lack of motivation, and seek out the psychological and medical support you may need to overcome them. Determine if physical ailments are impacting your motivation and ability to meet goals. Determine if some combination of poor diet, too much caffeine or alcohol, lack of exercise, and not enough sleep negatively impact your ability to be motivated. Determine if you're burned out, stressed out, or overwhelmed, and you're really not able to function. And then ask for help, another thing, an insight from professionals and or those you respect and look up to. And then reassess your goals realistically and determine what can be done to best help you get your motivation back. And do self-care and determine, a big thing, by the way, that you deserve to be loved by yourself and others. Set goals that are rewarding, specific, and reasonable. And after you've done this, start moving forward and really taking control of your life. Lack of motivation really hits most people at one time or another. It's important to have perspectives that you realize you're not alone lacking motivation. No, millions of persons have lost motivation but overcome it, been able to get back on the right track. The important thing to remember is that you can do it, and each day is the beginning of the rest of your life. Now is the time to be motivated as you can be, as much as you can, and seek out realistic goals to make your dreams come true. So, Mike, now's the time. You lost motivation or you're not motivated. You've got to figure out the whys, look at where you are in life in terms of whether it's you're not looking after yourself, you lost interest in what you're doing, you've got some anxiety and depression, there's chemical imbalance, or a lot of things that can be going on. But if you want to live a happy life and move forward, you have to be motivated. You need both the intrinsic and you need the extrinsic motivation in order to really, be successful and get things done.
So are we too vague about our goals? In other words, we go through and we just sort of look for motivation to just happen to us. We don't really try to steer our motivation. You see what I'm saying?
I think that can happen with a lot of people. I mean, you can't just sit and expect life to come to you.
Yeah.
You've got to figure ultimately what floats my boat. What motivates me, what keeps me going, what is it, and how realistic am I? What really makes me happy? A lot of people, they start focusing on things and they feel they've started something, they have to do it, but then they're not motivated, they're not interested, and they have to look at things. Is this really what you want to do? Is this something you really can do? What is it? And a lot of times people might be motivated by having a big car, okay, having a boat, but that may be something important, but they may not have really the skill sets, or they may not really have the fire inside them to do what it takes to get that. Okay, that's
Right.
nothing that can happen. And so it's really important. You've got to match up. What do you want to do? Like Pete Rose just died. I was reading about him. When it came to baseball, there was nobody more intense. And he actually took to hitting the number one hits from Ty Cobb, another incredibly intense kind of a person. But you kind of using baseball as an example, that motivation to do it, to be the very, very best. Ted Williams is another one. There are many others, but so it takes this combination of the desire, the motivation, and internal. I want to be the best at something, or I want to be able to do something, and then the extrinsic. These are things we're looking for, that we're seeking. Whether it's the boat, that would be an extrinsic type thing. Whether it is praise, whether it's more authority, whether it's whatever it might be, finding the loving partner. That's kind of intrinsic and extrinsic. Finding somebody to spend a lifetime with. So it's a pretty big thing. If you lack this motivation, and all of a sudden you find yourself being anxious or depressed or burned out, you have to take a time out. You have to take a look at where you are in life and determine really what can keep you going. What is it? What do you need to change careers? You need to just kind of dust yourself off and get going. You need to take some time off. Just take a break. Just start.
I think there's a good balance here of, I like inspirational books. I like to read stuff of people who are successful, things like that, autobiographies. Yeah. But the problem with that is often, if you just use that for motivation, in my own personal, this is what I've found. You studied it, not me. But if you just use those, like say the Ty Cobbs or the Pete Roses or the famous actor or whoever, that seems sometimes unachievable to just you. You know what I mean? Just to me. So I have to surround myself with people that I know that I can have lunch with, or that I know personally that have done good things, or you know what I mean, that have achieved something that I want, and that motivates me more. Like, gosh, they're like me, they did it. They're not so big and famous. Look at that. You know what I mean?
I think that's really a good example. You want to be around people that can motivate you, that have succeeded. If you want to be a bum, run around with bums. Isn't that true? And if you want to be successful, if you want to be successful and you want to be motivated, you want to be around people that really are motivated, are achieving, and that doesn't, in life, what we're motivated to do can change, because we can change careers, we can change a lot of different things. The point is, we have to always be ready to move, ready to get things done, because sitting back and waiting for life to come to you, that it'll come to you, but it isn't necessarily what you're going to want. You have to be taking the motivation. You have to get going. You have to say, I want this. I want to accomplish this. This is really what makes me happy. And those internal feelings are really important. Even the one I mentioned here about, you have to accept and want to be aware that you deserve to be loved. You deserve to have someone love you. Now, if you're not very lovable, maybe you've got to take a look too.
Well, then there's that. There is that. Doc, we're up on time. I want to just leave you with this, because I thought this was interesting. A friend of mine who's long gone, but just a huge issue. If you ever see ABC supply trucks running around, he and his wife started that business in their kitchen. So Ken Hendricks, God love him, rest in peace, used to say, and he said this to me one time after a dinner I was at, and he said, if you find yourself you're not motivated, I'm paraphrasing. He said, if you're not motivated, start small. You got to celebrate your victories, and everybody needs victories. So if you just make your bed in the morning, That's a victory. Now build off of that. I think that's great words of advice.
I think Ken was very good. A very, very good point. Glad you brought it in, my friend.
All right. Dr. John Braccio, Regional Psychological Services, East Lansing. Doc, as always, it's a pleasure. We'll chat again next week.
Very good. Bye-bye.
Bye now. It's your morning wake up, 1320 WILS.